Kevin, great deal on Les Mavs. Question for you as far as this season, how big is this training camp for you in terms of your growth and your development? We saw some things get better for you. The game slowed down, making some plays out of short rolls, things of that. How big is this training camp for you in terms of how you fight for minutes this year?
It's really big, just trying to come out, into the season. We want to start off having a good season, starting off, winning, right away. And, for me, coming in this year to training camp in better shape. I'm stronger. I feel faster. And, I'm just ready to get after it with these guys. And, our goal this year is get back to the championship and win. So, it's going to take a lot. We can't skip steps. But, for us, just stand together, trusting each other. And I feel like with me, just continue to grow. I feel like, as you said, as last year went on, as the season went on, I started to get better and better as the season progressed. And in the playoffs, I got a shot, opportunity, and I feel like I took the most of that. I took advantage of that with the minutes I was given, and just being thankful for that opportunity. And I'm just ready to get back after it. So. Mm-hmm.
Right here in the front, Valencia King, Real Talk Sports. How you doing, Jaden?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Gang.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we got to ask the serious questions. So first things first, when you went to the braider, when you went to the barber, did you tell them to get it right really, really well for media day? Because the taper fade is tapering.
I for sure told them I need a crispy cut. No cap. Crispy.
It definitely is crispy. The taper fade, make sure you give them their credit.
Thank you.
And then outside of basketball, what was the most enjoyable part for you? I know you did a camp, but even outside of that, what was the most enjoyable part of your off season?
Yeah, like you said, I did a lot of things this off season. I got time to travel, spend time with my family, and but most importantly, I was just focused on just staying in the gym and getting better, working on my body and preparing for the season to come. Because I know this year is gonna be big for me. And, I'm just trying to take every advantage of every opportunity that I'm given. And, I just try to put God first and let him take me through the way. So, yeah, thank you.
Chris Henderson, chendo.com. So this is the first question. Last year in the playoffs, you got some meaningful minutes in some crucial situations. Can you talk about that? And how was that a confidence builder for you that, Coach Kidd and the staff gave you those minutes?
Yeah, that was big for me to not only see that Coach Kidd put me in and trust me, but also my teammates being able to trust me in those moments too. That really helped me build my confidence a lot. Because I was just eager to be out there with those guys. I feel like I belonged on the floor, and I feel like I could help the team. So just whenever I got that opportunity, it just felt good, and for to see Coach trust me and all the players, push me and root me on when I was out there, that felt good. So, yeah.
Like that. And the second question is, obviously, I remember your rookie year, I asked you who were some of your favorite players growing up, but just guys that you looked. You mentioned Kobe, obviously, but then you said Kyrie. Ironically, Kyrie becomes your teammate.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what his influence has been with you now on the team and just being able to be a sponge and just look at one of those guys that's a generational talent and learn from him?
Yeah, for sure. Not like you said, not only just Kai though, but like being around Luka and now Clay, like that's like 3 future Hall of Famers. So, just being able to be around all 3 of them, being able to pick their brains, and just ask them about their experience. When they were younger players, I feel like it's only gonna help me get better. And I feel like, I'm next up behind those guys and just they know that I'm willing to put the work in and listen. And, it's just I'm happy to be here, and I'm ready to go for this season. I'm fired up, and I can't wait to get out there and show the fans what I've been working on.
So, Coach Kidd, Eddie Sefko, Mavs.com. So, Coach Kidd was here earlier and said, you've been patient. Now it's your turn to get an opportunity. And I'm wondering, what do you feel like you have to do specifically to make the most of that opportunity, especially given that it's kind of a crowded backcourt?
Yeah, pretty much. When I get out there, making the right decisions. The coaching staff, they talk to me about being able to make those right decisions. But not only that, but make open shots, still being aggressive. But yeah, still being aggressive out there. But making those right decisions, game time decisions. And I feel like over the summer, being able to work on my game and playing a lot of like pickup 5-on-5. To be able to work on my game decision. Just game time, decisions went well, so I could get that feel for whenever I step out there, just slowing down and reading the game. And I feel like that's what helped me a lot this summer and when I've been working on my game.
Blake Elliott, right over here, Jaden. Blake Elliott, 105.3 The Fan. As mentioned, you were kind of a microwave scorer off the bench for the Mavs in this past playoff run. it's a pretty guard-heavy roster. Have you and Coach Kidd and any of the staff kind of detailed what your role may be going into this next season, or what do you have planned for yourself coming into this next season as roster's a little heavy with guards right now?
Yeah, I know we do have a deep roster, but I mean, over here you just got to stay ready. It just comes down to being a pro, and whenever your name calls, you got to be ready to step out there and do what you do. And I feel like with me, that's what I've been doing, since I got here. Just working, putting the work in. And whenever I hear my name called, I go out there and perform. I try to bring great energy, root on all of my teammates. Have that positive vibe. And whenever I get out there, I try to do my thing and just root everybody on. So.
All right, we got time for one more for Jaden.
Jaden, Dana Larson right here with Mavs TV. Can you talk a little bit about the influence that Kyrie has had on you and just what he meant to you last season as you worked your way through, the journey of the year?
Yeah, Kai, he has a big influence on me. Me and Kai chop it up a lot, talk a lot, text each other. And, I know with me and Kai, I used to have conversations with Kai asking him about, his younger days, when he was younger coming into the league, like how he dealt with certain things. And, if he could go back, what would be something different he would have done, coming up. And, just to be able to hear his answers and him go into detail about, what it was like for him growing up, the things that he had to go through, and, stuff like that, and with the media. So he just, explaining to me how the business is, but not only that, just, also talking to him about the game. He's one of the best ever at, getting to the spot, being able to, get to the spots, raise up, getting his teammates involved. And also, just taking over a game whenever he needs to. And, that's something that I really like about Kai's game. And not only that, but the person and teammate he is too as well. So just being able to, be able to have someone like that in your corner who always gonna root for you and push you to get better is nothing. That's all I can ask for. And I feel like I'm only gonna get better with that. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. We had a couple moments like that in last season, when he'd come over to me, like during the game, and I ask him what he see, or he'd tell me what he see out there, and he'd just tell me, just play my game, or just, slow down, read it, and, it's going to make itself available. So stuff like that always helps, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Jaden. Appreciate it.
No problem.